My name is Jacky Lee. However, my legal name is Stephanie Blandon. But I choose Jacky Lee because that is my name leaving Korea. I was born in Incheon, Korea, 1957, post-war. I am 65 years old. My earliest memory is a little difficult to put things in chronological order, but I do remember the birth of my younger sister, and I'm 3 years older than her. We lived in a small room above a store on top of a hill. I also remember a black soldier taking me to the army base, and I can hear the bugle sound, and going to the snack bar. I also remember how cold it was in Korea. My mother threw a pail of water down the steps and it iced over. And I was dancing on top of the steps and fell. And I remember getting a bandage around my head. I still have a scar in my head. I remember one night, my mother took me out to use the bathroom. I didn't use the outhouse. We were just out there. There was a dog hanging around. Yeah. And I tried to I cherish those memories. As far as family, outside of my mother, I do remember I had an aunt, and visiting her. She lived in the city. We lived out more in the country. At her place, I don't know if this old woman was my grandmother or not, but before you got to my aunt's living quarters, there was an old woman just laying there, all wrinkly skin, not much clothing. And I remember the silver bedpan next to her bed. I also remember I went to school in the city. This man used to pick me up, take me into the city. I don't know if it was my father or my sister's father. I doubt we have the same father since we're 3 years apart. I have so many memories. It's just, and I play them over and over, but they are starting to fade the older I get. But the most profound memory, of course, is the last time I saw my mother. And she bought pastry for me and my younger sister, which we never had, a sweet pastry. And the man who came to pick me up to take me to school, she told him I wasn't going to school that day. My next memory, I'm on a dirt road with my little sister, shanties on one side, and at a distance, there was a convent because I can see nuns walking around in their habits. And then the next memory after that, we're in the backseat of a car. It's nighttime. I could see the city lights passing. We were at Seoul City Orphanage, and then we were transferred to World Vision Orphanage in Incheon. When my adopted parents came to see us, we stayed with them at I don't know if it was a motel or what, for a week. But when I met my adoptive mother, I felt a sense of belonging because we were the same brown. And I always felt like because of my younger sister, I was adopted because I was 5 years old. They didn't want to split us. I remember riding in a small plane to Japan. They were in the Air Force and stationed in Japan for a couple of years. Everything changed for me. I had to learn a new language. In our bedroom, they had all these charts and colors and the alphabets. But anyway, life was good in Japan. I enjoyed Japan because my mother was a housewife. But when we went to California, they started a church. She was a minister. Life was different once we moved to the States. That's when I was reminded I was different. And I got that mainly from the Black kids at church. It wasn't until recent years I realized the reason why I got that mainly from Black kids. White kids just saw the brown skin and saw me as Black. Black kids saw the nuances of my Asian genetics. I'm like, no, you're not one of us. You're a Chinaman, Jap. You look like you're asleep, you know, all of that. So I really had issues with my identity. I didn't talk about my life before adoption. That conversation was not welcome. My mother would tell me if people ask questions, you tell them, ask your mother. So I thought that was something to be ashamed of, being adopted. You know, that was a big, dark, bad secret. But people knew I was not the product of my mom and dad, so they were curious. I was ashamed of my nuanced Asian genes. You know, I just wanted to be Black. I resented my family for not allowing me to talk about my past, but I didn't learn until I had a conversation with my friend Milton. He said they were told to start a brand new life for you, and they took it literally. Like I didn't exist before age 5. The identity issues, that was rough, because back then Asian was not a thing. You didn't want to be Asian. Nobody did. That was not cool. Somehow, if when I saw another Asian, I would not look at them. I always felt that they saw me as dirty. So I would never look at them. It wasn't until my 30s I visited a Korean beauty supply store, and one of the workers said, "You're Korean." It's like, wow. But her and I became friends. That made me feel good. It's like, oh, somebody recognized me as being Korean. And that was the first time I had Korean food. She would cook dinner for me, and she would watch Korean television and invited me to their Christmas party. Everybody was speaking Korean. I didn't understand anything. I'm just there. But I took it all in. I took it all in. So my identity, I always said I was Black, and I didn't say Korean until they delved further, you know, but what I said, and Korean. And then it wasn't until, I don't know, maybe my 40s or 50s when I started to volunteer, I'm Black and Korean, without them asking. When my son, when he was around 12, he bought me a book, a Korean book, because he felt that I needed to get in touch with my Korean culture, my young son, because I didn't know anything about Korean culture. You know, it was denied me. You know, I had this love-hate relationship with Korea, you know, the country that rejected me, because I knew it's because I'm biracial. But I was fortunate enough to go with a group, the Hapa group, 2014, to Korea, and that changed for me. I thought, how can I hate a country that birthed me and possibly hold my mother, my Oma's soul in her womb? I can't. I can't. And I always told myself, I know my, my mother loved me, but I never said to myself, I love my mother. And after the 2014 trip, I cried all the way to the airport. As we traveled, you could see all the, the valleys. I said I wanted to go back and connect with the ground because I didn't get that opportunity being on the Hapa tour because it was fast paced. I wanted a quiet moment somewhere to speak to my Oma's soul. Let her know that I understand her sacrifice and that I love her. So I did go back 2017 and I did find a place. It was like a burial ground, where they had the huge mounds. And I spoke to my Oma. And ever since then, I identify as Korean and Black. It's no longer Black and Korean, but now I'm Korean and Black and proud. My name is Jacky Lee, and this is my Korean American story.